hell's going on. Yeah, I can't wait to be able to go back again one day. Hopefully, I will be able to.
Yes, yes, you
All right,
have to.
we're about to go live. Here we go. What's going on? Yeah, yep, here we go. All right. Yeah, we are live today here. To be able to go back again one day. Hopefully, I will be able to.
Yes,
All right, we're about to
go
wait.
live.
It's going back to us. Wait, hold on. What's going on here with on YouTube? All right. Yeah, we are live today here. Hold on, let me fix this. Okay, hopefully I won't be.
Yes,
All right, we're about to wait. It's that's what I got it. Wait, hold on. I figured it out. Yeah, I can't wait to be able to go. All right, everybody. Sorry about the confusion. It wouldn't be a true show if we didn't have like some gremlins in the wires getting in the. We have a very special guest today. We have Katharina Spurling Kaffl, and she's from Germany, and she is the wife of the late Slim Spurling. And everybody that knows my work and what I've been influenced by, they've heard about Slim Spurling before. So it's a real pleasure to be able to have her here. She's from Light Life Tools, and you guys can check out her products, and she'll talk about more about how she met Slim and her work now and how she's continuing his mission and his work that he's been doing on the planet for since the 90s. So let's bring her on. This is Katharina, everybody. So please welcome her to the Space Water Podcast. It's really a pleasure to spend some
hello.
time with you today. Welcome.
Happy to be here. Thank you, Ra.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. I'm glad we finally got to have you on, and I want to first thank you for you guys have changed my life, the work that Slim first started and that you're doing now. I was sharing with you a little bit beforehand is that I first found out about Slim right when I graduated high school in '96, and then after he went on Alan Seinfeld's show, I had gotten
Mhm.
one of his tools, and after having it just a couple of days at work, I lost it, and I couldn't afford to get myself another one. I was working in a warehouse at the time, and I started learning how to make my own way. So it changed my life, and I really want to first get into how did you first find out about Meet Slim, or did you first know about the work first and meet him through the work?
Well, actually, my brother met Slim in 1996. He came over to visit him in Colorado, and he brought some tools back with him. And so at the time, Slim had basically just 3 rings, uh, aqua coil, a feedback loop, and 3 harmonizers. A personal one, an environmental, and at the time, the largest one was called an agricultural. And so my brother invited Slim to come to Germany. And at the time, I was translating all kinds of different workshops. So I always said when the universe wanted me to learn about something, they had me translate a workshop. So I learned about crystals, I learned about spirit releasement therapy, I learned about reincarnation, doing all kinds of different things. And and what Slim he was sending my brother or me basically one of his notebooks that he hands out to people at his workshops. And like my brother, when I touched the coil, he would say, "Be careful, don't do this, don't do that," and I'm like, "Oh, whatever." So I didn't touch them. And then I started reading in Slim's workbook, and I was blown away. I was on fire before I even met Slim, and I thought, oh my God, I have to go out in the world. And I always joke and say I fell in love with the tools before I fell in love with the men because I wasn't sure.
That's
know,
great.
I, I had some interesting experiences translating a Native American. He was also very tall, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to have one of those experiences. And so, anyway, so when I met Slim, just an hour before we went to the workshop, and for me, it was like meeting an old friend again. It was this familiarity we know when we were together in previous lives before. For him, it was obvious that something important is going to happen. And for me, it was just really, hey, nice to see you again, kind of thing. And then we went to the workshop, and he was just really amazing. He was he made sure I have enough time to translate, and he was so calming. And I mean, at the time, that was in 1997. we didn't know so much about the tools. And so when people ask questions, and Slim would just say, I don't know, you find out and tell me. He was not someone who went into assumptions and pretending he's smarter than anything else. And I mean, he was very smart, but he didn't come to conclusions. He said, I don't know. He was very honest. He was very down to earth. And that really impressed me, because sometimes I was like, really? They're asking a question like that? This is so stupid. But Slim was always calm, and he was always there and answering everybody's question, and had all the patience in the world. And that really impressed me, that he didn't do a big show, and say, sure, and blah, blah, blah. And
he's a real man. He was a real man, a real man's man, it seems.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I love the way he was able to just, I'm not, I think I like to, he inspires me to be that way as well, is that he's able to explain, he was able to explain really in-depth stuff in a basic manner where people can absorb it.
That was definitely his strength. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I remember one time he was teaching a class, and then he explained something, and it was like, for me, oh, now I understand how that works. He just put it in a way that every layperson could understand it. And of course, he also could talk with physicists and, researchers from all levels, and he could get up to their level. So that was
being like a blacksmith in his genes at all? Like was it passed down to him, or did he just come into metalworking by his own curiosity?
A few years ago, I actually found a little folder, and there was a woman wanted to do a documentary about blacksmiths, and so she was interviewing Slim. And Slim, what drove him to teach himself blacksmithing was, he remembered coming in from another universe, and the universe was blown up. And so, he could obviously see in the future, because he said, one day we are going to blow this planet up, and what does it need to rebuild it? You need tools. And so this is why Slim taught himself, who makes tools? A blacksmith.
Yeah, then like Hephaestus, Prometheus, they were the knowledge of the gods.
Yeah, so this was like, this is how he taught himself blacksmithing, and he did an amazing job. Unfortunately, some of his most beautiful pieces, they were in a gift store up in the mountains, and they closed it down, and so I don't know where they are. But he did beautiful work. He did amazing work. And so that was and I think this is what led him to alchemy, because he had in the 70s the largest blacksmithing school in the nation. He had over 60 students, and
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was in the 70s. He had in Morrison, Colorado, a blacksmithing school, and it was the largest in the nation, over 60 students. And he said he had, I think from all the students he had, only one was not able to go actually into the iron, and he had make them nails and nails and nails until they were really able to go into the iron.
Wow.
And this is, I think, how they, I imagine this is what sculpture's doing. They're seeing what's in the stone, and this is what Slim was able to do with the iron. And I think this is how he was able to actually come up with this amazing way of twisting the wire, so that we have in the ring on both sides a positive field.
Yeah.
And, so
that's incredible. I vibrate with his, that so much. My great grandfather, who I'm named after, I never got to meet him, but he was a blacksmith. When he came over from Italy, he was even working on like making the cars in New York City, like the chassis and stuff. Wow. And I never got to meet him, because of the lifestyle and stuff, things, he died way before I was born. And he had a hard life when he came over here from Italy too. But Yeah, I really relate to that. So did he first started twisting wires for like spiritual type of healing, or was he doing it for like electroculture? Or
No,
what
no,
was it?
no.
What was it like? How did he first start twisting them, and what was the purpose originally? Was it, you know?
Yeah, if I think the story is in the book, but what actually happened, Slim was he and some friends were gathering, and there was a man coming to tell people with a piece of wire you can either heat or cool a building. So I don't know the measurement of the wire, but after this guy left, Slim put the piece of wire together, kind of what else can I do with a piece of wire? And then one of the friends was clairvoyant, and she jumped up, and Slim said, "What happened? What do you see?" And she saw a light column coming out of the ring. And so then Slim, he at the time he had already studied Wilhelm Reich's work and Tesla and another gentleman from New Zealand, Louis Caron, and so he knew about measurements and what to do. And so he made some rings, but those rings were just put together. They were a single wire. And one of the friends who had heart issues put the ring with the wrong side on in his shirt pocket, and he fell off the chair. And he was smart enough, because his heart stopped. He was smart enough to turn the ring over, and then the right side, the right spin came on his heart, and then he started breathing again. And so when he told Slim, Slim had, I mean, only a few rings out at the time anyway, but he collected the rings back, and he said, "I don't want anything out there that can be just the slightest harm to anybody." And so, and then he started thinking, what can I do that I have a right spin on both sides of the ring? And so this is how he came up with twisting the wire, because his commitment was always to improve the quality of life. His commitment was to reduce air pollution, and that was his main purpose in life.
And the beads for people out there, the beads are like amplifiers on there, right?
Tesla said beads are amplifiers, and this is why we put beads on the rings. And some rings, they have a heavier wire. They don't need the beads, but the standard wire we use for the different rings, that are the amplifier beads are amplifiers.
Yeah, it's really like from another world. Even some of the harmonizers that you make, so advanced. I wish I could make things like that. I can't make that. But
Yeah,
I got basic harmonizers that I've made, like with
yeah.
and some double wrapped ones, but uh just amazing, guys. It's Light Life Tools. So when he
Washtub.
whoa. Wow. Look at that. And is that gold plated as well?
Yes, yes. This is gold plated. First silver plated, and then 24K gold plated. We still use 24K, but Slim used, even it's, I think, 20 times more expensive now than at his time. But
Yeah.
that we don't, make any compromises on the quality.
Wow. So did he ever experience working with copper, twisting copper tensor coils around crystals as well at all?
No, he hasn't done that. But we have, like our lost cubic coil.
Yeah.
People are putting crystals in there for healing, and so that's something that people are doing. But he has not twisted the wire directly around crystals. He hasn't done that.
Yeah, that's what I got into myself. I started gravitating towards that because I feel like crystals like quartz is piezoelectric. So when
Yeah,
you wrap a coil around it, it's like squeezing, compressing the quartz, opening up the light inside of it, you know?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's really it's
No,
really incredible.
it's great, and I think, and this is what I love, that people are using different technologies. When Slim was around, there was nothing like it. When he started, he was way ahead of his time. And he wanted something practical where everyone can use it. And yourself, if you have I actually translated for a guy who sold the Vogel crystals. And so so what I learned there is, when the tip is breaking, then the crystal doesn't have its healing power anymore. And so this is, Slim wouldn't want to go there, because he wanted something that people can use daily and not having to be afraid. He he was more about functionality, you know, than going into specific things where we cannot make enough to help many people.
Yeah, I mean, Katharina, he's damn near prophetic, a prophet, something like that. I mean, not to put something like a saint, you don't want to put it like, I'm not saying, but it's like certain things that he did, I mean, he's tapping into like universal knowledge, right?
Yeah,
And Tesla was this
absolutely.
way as well. I mean,
Yeah.
that shape of the harmonizer, let's talk about that for a minute, because magnetic fields generate in that shape. Supernova explosions happen in that shape. The torus, it's like the torus bubble,
Yeah.
right? So was this coming to him like telepathically, or sort of like, did he ever say that it was just like an urge or something that would come to him? Or because just getting those shapes, you know, that's coming from like universal sacred geometry, you know?
You know, Slim was far too humble to even uh, he never wanted people to look up to him and put him on a pedestal, whatever, you know, whatever.
Yeah, like a pedestal, yeah.
And so he would not go into how he got it, but you know, sometimes he would come in from the shop and he would lay on the couch, and you know, every now and then I actually was like, is he still alive? Is he still breathing? Because he was so gone, and he definitely got downloads. And so it's yeah, I had one time I had a session with after his passing, and he had no idea who Slim was, and he said, "Who was this man? He was not from this world, you know." And so, yeah, he definitely had access to knowledge that, and our fortune is that he actually did something with it, because Slim was. You could ask him anything. Slim was not holding back with anything, you know, and you could have called him at 8 at night and he would talk to you until 2 in the morning, you know. So he was just very, very open and sharing, and
I
if
love
someone
that.
was interested, then he would just be there for you.
Yeah, I love that. You know, it seems like, say if our world ended today and you know it restarted again and people find some of these tools, they'll be like, who is this advanced culture making these? Right? Right? It's seriously, it's like one of those discoveries that changes the world. I mean, I was just discussing in another show I did, the ancient Bulgaria, like with the Thracians and how they were doing like copper and gold metalwork back then.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. You know, it was like, because the subtitle of the first book, Slim Spurling's Universe, is Ancient Science Rediscovered. And Slim was in 2000 actually. Yeah, I came over. He went to South Africa, and he had a meeting with Credo Mutwo.
yeah,
And
Cradle Mutwa, yeah,
you
I'm
know,
familiar, yeah.
and so he showed him an environmental harmonizer, and Credo was laughing, and he was saying, "Oh my God, you know, this is what we used 2,000 years ago already, to have it on a pole, on a staff." And so that was for the tribes, to bring harmony into the tribes. And so, you know, it was there, and Slim just,
Wow.
yeah,
So his mission was here to literally change the vibration of the planet.
exactly, exactly.
From tribes, from Aboriginal tribes to the businessman on the Wi-Fi too much.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow. How friggin' crazy is that? How impactful is that? From tribes of Africa to the man on his laptop stressing about bills. You know, oh my God. That is incredible. And I love the way that it's been described as, do you have one of the larger tensor rings like this with you?
yeah.
Of
I
yours? I'd rather you show yours.
Sure.
Yeah.
This is the
So
largest. This is the empowerment qubit. By the way, the empowerment qubit we haven't published, and so when people reproduce the tools and use the empowerment qubit, it's not our measurement. You know, so some people use forever, but it's not ours. So
Yeah,
and
I only use the Royal Cubit that I know of.
yeah,
I don't have the other, but
yeah, no,
I've
I'm
heard
just
of the Ra Cubit, the Lost Cubit, the Empower Milk.
yeah.
Yeah,
But just that you know, and I think it's good for your audience to know when people that are not from us make empower or offer empowerment Cupid rings, they use my name, but they don't have my measurement. I have
wow.
I have not even memorized it because some people read my mind, so I could not even give it to you, but I know where to find it if I need it.
You know, that's important, guys. If you want the real empowerment Cubit, you know, I was talking about this the other day with certain things. It's almost like when someone like wants to play someone that wrote a song. Yeah, you might be able to play the song, but you're not going to get the little nuances of the little nuances of the actual creation. So yeah, if you want the real empowerment tool, we'll go to Light Life Tools. And that's very important that you guys brought that up. Thank you, Isaac, in the chat room. She also talked about we have a question in the chat room from Isaac. Can she talk about the Tibetan pendant?
Yes, of course. And I put our website in there because it's lightlifetechnology.com. I put it in the chat. Let me just see if you got it. lightlifetechnology.com, and people
Right.
can also go to Slim's website,
I'm putting it in the chat room on YouTube right now for
Yeah,
everybody.
great, thank you. Yes, the Tibetan pendant is my one favorite thing when I'm traveling and I'm going to Europe soon. I use our New Dimension Unity personal harmonizer because that is helping with 5G and all other kinds of things. And the Tibetan pendant has its name because I had actually a pendant from Tibet, and it was like a double door shape. And a friend of mine said, wouldn't it be nice to have that made out of harmonizers? And at the time, Slim didn't have anyone who could make them so small. And then once I had by an artist who was always up for a challenge, and so she started making the mini personal harmonizers and created this Tibetan pendant. And in my workshop, just when was it, in March, there was a participant, and she was telling me that she had a friend who was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer and started chemo, but the doctor said, well, you know, if you're lucky, 3 months. And that was 2 years ago. She got to the Tibetan pendant, and this woman is still alive now. No guarantee that this is happening
Wow.
to everyone. However, when it happens, it's really fun. Or I gave this ring, this is our half sacred Cupid ring, to a gentleman who had just open heart surgery. I say, put it in your shirt pocket over your heart. And then he said, hey, I haven't used this defibrillator all day. Usually I need to use it several times during the day. And my cardiologist said, you know, you just have to live with it. He had heart issues for over 30 years. And the cardiologist said, there's nothing you can do.
Was he putting it on his left arm?
No, he put it in his shirt
On his
pocket.
pocket.
In his pocket over his
Over
heart.
his heart.
Yeah,
Wow.
and that was in
Yeah.
March 2020. And I saw him on a Zoom call last December. And I said, hey, how is it going with your heart? He said, my heart is completely healed.
Oh my God.
And
So
this is
how
the ring. I don't know exactly what it is. I think maybe $40 or $45. You can see it on our website. But this is amazing. And this is why we are doing what we are doing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. How much from your experiences, and maybe if Slim had shared it with you in the past, everybody, if you're just joining us, we're talking with Katharina Spurling Kaffl, the late the wife of the late Slim Spurling, and she's at lifelifetechnology.com. You can also go to slimspurling.com. How much of if Slim had shared this with you in the past, maybe too, how much does it have to do with also the belief in the healing process as well? Right? If someone is just putting the ring in their pocket, maybe, and they don't believe that it's going to work, is that also going to be detrimental to the effect of the rings?
Because the rings are, Slim was always, because of the function, if someone uses their intention, they have with all the tools even better result. But this gentleman, he didn't know what I'm getting him. He liked me and he said, oh, what the heck, I mean, I'm open to anything.
That's important.
And he was just,
that shows you it's not like woo woo, that it's technology.
he didn't believe in it. And I tell you what, I mean, I have flowers that I bought now 3 weeks ago. I put them in a one sacred Cupid ring, and now some of them are still good after 3 weeks. And I mean, my flowers don't believe in the rings. When I put it over my dog when he was supposed to have surgery.
Yeah, they don't know about the rings. They just know how they flourish.
Yeah, I mean, and I gave one of those a friend of mine because she said, I have to get up in 50 minutes. I never can sit longer than 50 minutes. And I gave her that. She put it in her pants over her lower back where she has pain usually. And after 45 minutes, she was like, oh my God, I'm still sitting. And she didn't believe in the ring. She just took it because why not? But I didn't have any idea that it would have that effect on her. I just said, and this is the approach that Slim always said, let's see what happens. I'll do this, and then I see what happens. Like when he started making the harmonizer, first they put 2 rings together. Yeah, not really much. Then they put the third ring. That's much more powerful, but still something missing. And then they put the coil in there. And then it was the toroidal field, and that was what we are still making now.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's incredible. Did he have the harmonizer already? Did that come after it came after the ring, the original ring?
Yeah. The first thing what he created was the rings. And then he got tired and said, what else can I make? And then he started making the sacred Cupid aqua coils. And then still looking for, because air pollution in the 90s in Denver was horrible. He said you couldn't even sometimes see 20 yards because it was so bad, and so Denver was known for the brown cloud.
And he was influenced by Wilhelm Reich, probably, right? As well, I think I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. He studied Wilhelm Reich, Nikola Tesla, and Louis Chevron and other people. And so he definitely, that was his main goal, to find something for. And then, of course, the side effects, what our harmonizers have. We have reports that suicidal rates up, crime rates up, and in addition to cleaner air.
Yeah. I mean, how many people buy those harmonizers for like electroculture, or putting it in like I know outside's not good for the weather, but like in a greenhouse maybe?
I have no idea how many actually use it in a greenhouse, because usually our customers don't tell us what they're
They don't
using.
tell you. Yeah. Have you ever heard of anyone mentioning they put it in a greenhouse?
I know from someone who has a big farm in south of Denver, and they use the Lost Cupid harmonizer. The Lost Cupid harmonizer is really good for plant growth. And so they had amazing larger yields than before. So, but if they had it in the house or outside, I don't know. But that what the Lost Cupid harmonizers are for the environmental and the community. They are especially for plant growth.
Wow, that's incredible. So he came up with did he have any assistance with some of them, like the feedback loop he came up with as well?
The feedback loop was actually Bill Reed's idea.
Oh, wow.
And so Bill Reed read about the phase. I always have to look it up, so what happens with the feedback loop is basically I want to say negative stuff gets coming in, and then it gets converted, the phases change, and then positive comes out. With the coils, wait a moment, I could have some water.
Yeah, take your time, please.
And I'm using this coil because people can see it better. This one has the bead inside, but it's not so easy to see. So the coil puts negative stuff in here, and then it converts it, like it comes on a block wall, and then whatever comes to this wall gets turned into the positive. And clairvoyants can say, like, a dark thing comes out here and light comes out here. So if your immune system is jeopardized, then you want to put that on your timers to bring more light in your timers and activate more T cells to produce. When you have headache, for example, starting here, then you start here, and then you go away, and you're pulling out the stuff. And when the headache is gone, you want to make sure you put light back in, so that that the void that we are creating, we want to make sure it's filled with positive light. With light, something positive, versus having it open and all kinds of crap can go in again.
Yeah, I mean, it's for people that want to know the scientific version as well. It's like I explain it sometimes. It's almost like wringing out a dirty rag. You're getting the old electrons out, so it's an explosion of fresh electrons always. Like brand new positive electrons. You always want that. Even if you go lean up against a tree, you're getting new electrons. But when you have that positive clockwise twist, you can, I could sense it as soon as it's twisted clockwise. There's a certain pop that comes out of it. It's like you sense the light that comes out of it. It's truly incredible. Really
awesome.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Really incredible.
And this is why, we had at a workshop in Germany a guy, and my brother could see the aura, and on his aura on his left side was completely dark, and my brother was wondering what's going on with him. And at the break, this guy comes to us and says, "Oh, I made my own Spurling ring," and my brother said, "You were such a dumb head. You twisted it the wrong way." And he was wearing it on the left side, and this is why the whole aura on the left side was dark. So whoever wants to make the rings themselves, make always sure that you do a right spin and not the left spin, because that can be really detrimental.
Yeah, that's important. I always tell people, and then if you're using the drill, make sure the drill's spinning the right way. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's really incredible. This really is an amazing interview. I really want to thank you for spending time with us as well. And can you to explain to people? So I didn't want to bring it up myself, but I've heard you've mentioned it, and Slim mentioned it before about the soap bubble, because that's very interesting.
So the tensor, let me take a smaller one so it's easier to see. So every loop is creates a tensor field. And the best example of a tensor field is when we are looking or remembering when we were children, and we had those tubes with soap, and we had a loop, we put it in, and then we had this film around it. And this is what the tensor film is. This is the tensor. And sometimes people can actually, when they go with their hands through the ring, then it feels like a invisible glove. All of a sudden you can feel there is a different energy in there. And what's happening inside the tensor field is basically it's accumulating life force energy. So Slim explained it like a 0-point energy field. In here, it's another time than outside of it. And I think the combination of the way the wire is twisted, the beats or the strength of the wire, is contributing and the plating to having this enormous healing power for the rings.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
it's really incredible.
When Slim was in South Africa, he did a workshop, and a participant had a friend who had a brain tumor and a liver tumor, and doctor said, nothing we can do, get your affairs in order. And of course I wasn't there, so I can only demonstrate. She put the ring on her head where the brain tumor was, and she put one of the sacred cubits over her liver tumor and took the larger ring and went up and down. Obviously, I don't know exactly how she did it and where the tumor was, but over the tumor she put those rings, and then it took 6 weeks and all tumors were gone. And of course, no guarantee that it always works, but just imagine if it works, And so, I always say you cannot have enough rings. If you will come to my house, I have one of those over each burner. I have them stacked up over my pull-out pantry, so everything is in the ring, over my cat food, over my water, over my fridge, a larger one. I have the little one over my gas filling. I mean, you name it. There's yeah. I use this one going back and forth to Europe. I have hardly any jet lag. I sit on that, and now I have a second one when the announcement is a flight attendant have to sit down for the next half an hour. We are going through a storm period. I use my ring. I focus on clearing the air, and within a few minutes, the flight attendant can go work again because we are not in a heavy situation anymore. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
That is, even they talk about in the Bible and certain things with Moses that he had working with like twisted serpents around copper and things like that. And even a lot of symbolism have like the god Eon is shown with like a human body with a lion's face, but then there's like a twisting serpent around him. And then there's light exploding out of a torch at the top.
Interesting enough, huh?
Right? It seems like it very interesting. So even like with the sun, Katharina, right? When the coronal loops, they come in loops, and they're twisting magnetic fields that form those loops.
Yeah.
Twisting magnetic field lines, and then they form the burst of coronal loop. So I think it's just like it's universal knowledge that light comes from these twisting magnetic fields and wires and all sorts of things. It's really intense.
And the rings are not magnetic. It's important to understand that they are not magnetic. But what they are doing, if you put one of our rings, like we have special ones to put over smart meters, they are neutralizing the magnetic field because of the way the wire is twisted.
Yeah.
So they can still read the electricity, but people who are affected by the smart meters don't have to worry about that. They put one of our lost Cubit rings over the smart meter, and that's it.
Now, have you gone to other countries where there's bad water content and it saved your butt using a ring with the water? Because people get sick from foreign countries with water in different places.
I don't have it here, but I haven't been to countries where the water was really bad, but we don't even have to go anywhere. We can go in the US to different places where the water is so bad.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe like Mexico, people get sick. India, sometimes people go and they get sick from the water because they're not used to being with the certain bacteria they have in the water there.
I know, but I actually went once to India with my sister, and we always had pure water. We had bottled water, and I always have my rings with me. And I actually crocheted a bottle holder where I have one of our rings on the bottom, and so whatever every bottled water I have is automatically energized with the rings and cleaned with the rings. And in Mexico, I haven't had any issues at all. Also, always drinking either filtered or bottled water. So yeah.
I've noticed the taste is better though when I use the ring on water.
Oh yeah. I mean, I was at a conference years ago in Canada, and the water they served on the table was so bad. You put the glass, and it was like already smelling.
Tasted like came from a hose, right? Like
you didn't even want to drink it. And so I put it in the ring, and at that time it took longer. It seems really like they're speeding up now. But I think after maybe 15, 20 minutes, the water had good taste, no smell anymore, and it was amazing. Yeah.
Wow, that's really incredible. Yeah, everybody, this is Katharina Spurling Kaffl. She's at it's a tongue twister. lightlifetechnology.com. And you can also go to slimspurling.com. Now, do you have any things on the horizon that you'd like to promote?
Actually, we have a workshop in Philadelphia coming up, and that is in July. And it's the weekend of the 13th and 14th of July. Is near Philadelphia. It's in Horsham, and I'm doing it with Scott Anderson. and Scott was actually trained by Slim in the dowsing. And after Slim's passing, Scott started doing the dowsing workshops with me in 2008. He's amazing. He has great experience. And so we are actually going out in the field. We have people learn, the background of the dowsing, the geopathic stress, why it's important to remove, neutralize geopathic stress. That was the other amazing legacy that Slim left us, because coming from Germany, they say, yeah, you have to move your furniture, you have to move your bed, you cannot do if you have a water line or something.
How do you feel about that? Have you ever found, like, if they do even like construction on your road, it can change things?
Yes, it can. Absolutely.
People don't realize that.
Yeah, exactly. And so that was why I'm so excited about sharing this technology with people, because it can really save lives. It can change your business. It can change your relationship. I had a friend who told me, they moved to a house in the mountains, and his wife started getting sick. And I said, you douse for geopathic, and that's what he did. I mean, they sold the house, but this is something you can do before you buy a house, to check if there are geopathic stress. And this workshop is, I can only highly recommend people to learn that, because some people actually created their own business out of it. And you can help your kids if A students all of a sudden are in a new classroom or in a new school, and the grades drop significantly. That could be because they are on a geopathic stress line, and they cannot concentrate, they cannot learn anymore. And so instead of giving the kids a hard time, go into school and learn how to do that, and then all the children can improve their learning.
So important. That's so great that you said that. I really appreciate you sharing this information with us and continuing the mission. And it's sad, because I'm just realizing that you only got to spend about a decade with Slim, huh?
Yeah, actually, yeah. Pretty much to the day. 2 months. The last 6 months of his life, he was in a semi-coma, so but yeah, it was less than a decade that I knew him, and being with him was only short 7 years. So
it changed your whole life path, and now you're continuing his mission.
Yeah, absolutely. But if I look back in my life, it was like everything that I learned was a setup to be with Slim, because I couldn't have taken care of him at home if I hadn't had certain trainings, medical trainings that I had to do all that. So it was a complete cosmic setup.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier that your brother had brought you to meet him. Now, was your brother already into metaphysical stuff as well? He was already into that kind of...
He was the Flower of Life facilitator. So, and Tumalo was the first, Slim's product was the first that Tumalo actually promoted, because once he understood the power of those. And so this is how my brother learned about it, and this is how I learned about it.
Wow, so he's the true Lord of the Rings. The Lord of the Rings, the original Lord of the Rings, everybody. It's Katharina Spurling Kaffl, lightlifetechnology.com or slimspurling.com. Once again, I'd like to thank you for coming on today. It's really been a pleasure. You really are a beautiful person. Everybody loved it in the chat room.
Thank you for having me. It was fun being with you.
Anytime. It's my pleasure. Thanks, everybody. It's the Space Water Podcast. You can contribute at my website or go to